So welcome to Monday of DragonCon 2015. I see that you are the only survivors. Congratulations. We will wall up in here and barricade the doors against the stumbling dead.
You have won the DragonCon games.
I no longer volunteer as tribute. I would like to go back to bed. Is that a thing I can do? Because that's the thing I would like to do.
Let's just run off to the woods and hang out with some guy who makes pita bread. That would be great.
No, his name was Pita. He didn't, make pita bread. That was not the point of the movie. I think you might have missed some things.
But he was totally working in a bakery, right?
Well,
Okay.
one out of infinity.
Guys.
I should have probably watched it with sound on. I'm a little confused. All right, so I'm being stared at by the producer, which means we should probably actually talk about the show. So did we enjoy? Did we enjoy ourselves last night?
For a longer time than I probably should have. Did anyone else have that? Everyone else is like, no, I went to bed at 11 and I got a lot of sleep.
Midnight, raise your hand. If
Did you
go
go-
at 1 o'clock in the morning, raise your hand. More people. 2 o'clock. 3. 4. Our cameraman's raising his hand.
Expect a lot of slow movement from camera 2 this morning.
Well, I assume eventually the camera is just slowly going to tilt and go down.
Following us as we go under the table.
We are adults making adult choices like adults.
What time did you go to bed, Stephen?
I raised my hand for 4.
Okay.
I will
Baby's
own
like,
that awesome decision. Yeah, the baby is like, yeah, 4 o'clock. What are you thinking? That's about when I was getting everybody up.
No, we did have a good time last night. We'll talk about the Masquerade in a minute, but we are looking at our Daily Dragon for Monday, which I believe this is...
Lavender. Nobody ever backs me up on my colors. It's very sad.
Lilac?
Okay.
I would also take lilac.
Okay, we'll go with lilac. This also is a reminder, if there's any last minute schedule changes, there's not much schedule left. We're really not going to go over that today. Just check out the Daily Dragon, dailydragon.dragoncon.org, or on the Twitters at daily_dragon. We really do want to talk about the stuff that happened yesterday and kind of get our final thoughts of the convention. Should we do the Masquerade?
Yes.
Let's talk about that thing. Who went to the Masquerade last night?
But I think we have some awesome footage to roll from that first.
Why don't we just go ahead and let somebody else do all the work on that segment?
I
We'll sit
like
here
that.
and think quietly about what we have done.
Hi, I'm Michael Keane with DragonConTV, and I am backstage at the 2015 Masquerade, and it's a little packed. There's a few people, here and there. Hi, I'm Michael Keane here on DragonConTV, and I'm here with Peter Kalamis.
I said this is my first time, actually, not just at the event, but obviously first time hosting it, and I had a blast. It was great.
Have you been to DragonCon before?
I was here 3 years ago, and it was my first time, so it was a little awe-inspiring, at the magnitude of the whole thing, taking it all in. So I feel better coming in this time, like I got one under my belt. I'm not a complete rookie this time, and I'm having more fun this time.
So the costumes this year were amazing.
Amazing.
What were your overall thoughts, and did you have any that really stood out to you?
You know what? You always think that you've seen the coolest costume ever, and then 5 minutes later you see a costume that is the coolest costume ever. So it's almost like it's constantly topping itself.
I'm here with Gabrielle and Mike, and they have just won Best in Show at the 2015 Masquerade. First, guys, how you feeling?
I'm in shock. I've been stunned.
This is TikTok from Return to Oz, right?
Yeah, it's the 30th anniversary of the series. It came out of the show. It came out in 1985.
Yeah. You go in that.
Yeah, it's an extraordinarily uncomfortable costume.
How do you operate things from inside?
I sit kind of in a crouched sumo wrestler position. My feet actually will go inside his own feet, and I can kind of stomp. But when I need to walk, I put my feet through the middle. And inside, his arms have cranks. I can push his arms up, and the arms are articulate, so they reach out. That arm's designed so that it looks like he's saluting. This arm's designed to shake your hand. So his body is on casters, so he can actually turn about 90 degrees on his top half, and his head is also on casters, and it'll turn as well. The electronics inside are there's two large UPS batteries that power him, and they run an AC inverter. All the motors are actually AC driven. It helps because of the mustache, which needs to go back and forth. AC motors are really useful for that. And the keys on the back are also motorized and switch controlled. There's a little switch control box inside that I use to turn the individual components on and off. So.
Your outfit, was this all handmade?
No, this was from Etsy, but we dyed it and then we sewed on the stripes and we added the sleeves and the little details up here, the little cloth.
And the collar and the belt.
All right. Well, congratulations. You did a beyond amazing job, and I look forward to seeing future work from the both of you. Well, this is Michael Keane signing off from the 2015 Masquerade.
Do you want to kill the Batman?
Yes, I want to kill the Batman.
Well, let's break out. Let's go.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
It is sometimes hard to contain DragonCon as illustrated by Michael's sign-off. So, any impressions from the Masquerade last night?
Just the part where all of a sudden the legs are coming out of TikTok's butt and he's walking was a little startling.
Ta-da! More TikTok than we thought. I thought that we had a pretty good variety of costumes. The kids division was like 24 contestants.
Yeah,
and 8 of them.
Kid Groot.
Kid Groot.
I wanted him to be there on the stage and slowly over time turn into adult Groot as the costume contest went on.
The show did run a little long, so it's probably happening backstage. But one of my favorite parts of the Masquerade every year is figuring out what's going to happen during the kids' judging break. Because during the judging break for the adult division, we cut away and show some DragonConTV stuff and show some music videos and things. But during the kids, it's like the host is going to go talk to these kids, and normally you have about a dozen on stage. And this year there's like 30 kids, and he's got to wade through them and ask them all questions. And he's doing these like intense questions like, what's the coolest thing you've seen? What's the weirdest thing that happened to you? He walks over, just puts the mic in front of him, and the kid goes, I am Groot. And Peter turns to the audience and says, I was actually expecting him to have an answer for that. I don't know why I was expecting that. That is exactly what should have happened. So let's move on.
Unless you have that moment where you're like, I have a mic. Hey, child, speak into it. Okay, I'll go to the next one.
We had a lot of one-word answers, and then we had the 10-minute answer from one kid. And Peter was like, I'm just going to let you keep going. This is good. It's good stuff. Allie, any impressions on the Masquerade last night?
Also the kids.
Yeah.
I love watching the kids' costumes. They're cute.
They're either completely into what they're doing or off the stage in 18 seconds.
There's always that one little 3-year-old who just takes off running and the parents.
It's like, I'm done. Boom. Here I go.
I did not understand the requirements for this. I am leaving this platform.
And the kids just like people, so many people.
That's what's happening to us right now, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
So there's a lot of con that went on yesterday. We had, by the way, who was in the A-Train yesterday for, I think it was around the 5:30 for the Muppets panel for the new ABC Muppet Show?
Nobody likes Muppets in this audience. They're all like, never mind Muppets.
You missed something kind of amazing yesterday that I happened to get into the room for. So the voice actor who now does Kermit the Frog, his first name is Steve, I cannot remember his last name at the moment because of Monday. Whitmire.
It's like it's printed. And
Yes.
this dragon that comes out dated.
I should totally read this thing that you're talking about. It's been a day. So he, halfway through the thing, brought out Kermit the Frog and answered Q&A as Kermit the Frog. And our camera operator was trying not to cry during the entire thing. She was like, this is so amazing, right? Like most of the audience.
And now you have regrets.
Yes. And I apologize, we did not advertise that was going to be there. But that was one of those command decisions of let's just say say Kermit the Frog is going to be there, see how that turns out. But that was a fun panel, and then Kieran Gillian was after that, which was such a full panel.
So at some point at the con, I think we need Karen Gillan versus Kieran Gillan. The name off. All right, that's a deep cut. Like 30 people like,
Like the people in the back.
Deep joke.
I want Kieran Gillen to come to the con. He's awesome.
We had Sylvester McCoy's back. And
so how, did we get the RDA of spoon playing that is required? I'm Sylvester McCoy.
Spoon playing and Wandering Wizard, yes. It's just all
Wait,
I want to know how he does that and how much coffee does he drink. Because I can never, achieve that level of energy ever.
Yes, I had to follow him at the Parsecs a couple of years ago, and it's like, I'm just going to look kind of like I'm dead after he's like, all the energy.
all the energy. And I find it interesting that the Daily Dragon has a panel about Lost Girl, and the title for their summary of it is Walking in High Heels. That has nothing to do with John Barrowman's appearance yesterday.
And also nothing to do with Jurassic World.
No.
So,
Who wants to describe John Barrowman yesterday? Allie, you want to try to take this one?
I'm really sad that I missed that panel. He came out in a lovely TARDIS blue dress and fabulous red pumps.
Now, when we say came out, we should just say that's the way he appeared.
I-
Let's just
yes,
get the
I-
context settled.
this is not a new thing.
Okay. I saw the replay of that, and it was amazing.
High tips.
And all of this is detailed in the Daily Dragon, and my favorite part is the part where they're like, asking everything from his most awkward encounter to what he had on under his dress, and then in parentheses, so we got a peek at his Superman undies. Because John Barrowman needed an excuse to disrobe. He did not disrobe, the audience is saying.
Yeah.
We've had the experience where we have done this and then gone off stage for a 10 o'clock panel where it was John Barrowman, and all of a sudden that's his butt. That's his butt on camera.
5 seconds.
Yes.
We timed it. He was on stage for 5 seconds before we saw his Megatron underwear.
Yes.
Time that meets the
Time to undies. 5 seconds.
But that's what we love about him.
one of many things.
All right. So if you would like to follow John Barrowman's undies, go Brian.
Well, unfortunately, the next thing we have is to set up for our next segment.
Can I talk about that because I actually went to the panel?
Yes,
I
please.
guess.
I went to I guess some of the smaller panels. I wouldn't really call that smaller. I don't know, but the comics track hosted Congressman John Lewis and his co-writer for their graphic novel trilogy called March, which is it's John Lewis's memoir about the civil rights movement, and we decided to tell it in comic book format, which is really awesome. And actually, I got to go to the panel and listen to him talk, and he's amazing. His memory's very sharp, and listening to him tell all these stories about the civil rights movement in the 60s, and we actually were able to send a crew to get an interview with him later. And do we want to roll that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll an interview with John's.
Hi, it's Brian Richardson. We've delved into the comics artist alley, and I've never gotten to say this before. I'm going to talk to a congressman, Congressman John Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Well, good to meet you, sir.
And the congressman has his own writer, Andrew Iden. Good to see you, too.
Good to see you. Thank you for having us.
Well, thanks for being here. It's actually an interesting thing at DragonCon, especially on DragonConTV. We normally try to make light of DragonCon. This is actually a very serious thing you brought to us with the convention. You have a comic book series called March, and it talks about the history of civil rights movement in the United States. And I'd like to ask you personally, Congressman Lewis, why did you pick graphic novels as a format to help tell the story of the civil rights movement?
Well, I must be very frank and candid and honest with you. Andrew Iden, the co-author, came to me and said, why don't you do it? And being a nonviolent person, I sort of tried to put it off. And he wouldn't give up. He wouldn't give in, and he just kept insisting. And I finally said to him, yes, if you do it with me.
Okay.
And that is the history of the making of a bestseller graphic novel.
Yeah, it's amazing how well the format has worked for this story. So, Andrew, what made you think that graphic novels and this format would work for Congressman Lewis's story?
Well, first off, John Lewis is a real life hero, someone that I think all of us can hope to emulate. Second, the civil rights movement used the comic book themselves to inspire some of the earliest acts of civil disobedience. It was called Martin Luther King and the Montgomery Story, and it was actually edited by Dr. King himself.
I did not know that.
So that was my graduate thesis.
Oh, okay.
Sort of a proof of concept that this could work. And so it just seems so natural. But John Lewis, above all, is a real life hero that story, I think, needs to be told in this way, that it gives it a drama, it makes it plain, it makes it real for people to see.
Do you find that with the release of the movie Selma, and a lot of the recent events in the news, does that reinforce your decision to push the story out? Does it bring a different audience, a different context to the work that you've been doing with this book?
Well, I think with the recent events in the news, Selma, and so many things happening in America right now, make this book so relevant. Of course, speak to not only our past, our history, but it speak to today. And people can learn what another generation did and how they did it. And be inspired to stand up, to speak up and speak out, and do what I call getting in the way.
Right.
And getting in good trouble, necessary trouble.
Right. So speaking of trouble, we'll talk about the fun kind of trouble for DragonCon. Andrew, you've been coming now, you said 19 years?
This is my 19th year, yeah.
So what's the experience being on this side of the table from DragonCon versus what you might have seen like wandering around as a fan? How does that change the kind of vibe for you here?
Well, I think I've gone the full progression. My first time was with a day pass, lugging a backpack full of freebies, not being able to buy a sandwich. And now to have been going for so many years and now to be on the other side of the table, it's a really amazing experience. So many of these creators have become friends and almost like family. And to see them every year and to spend time with everybody, to spend time with the organizers and the volunteers here at DragonCon, it's amazing because they're such wonderful people that work very hard to put on a great show for everyone.
And Congressman Lewis, any experiences that you want to share from DragonCon? I know you've been here a few times, and you were actually part of the banquet last night with Nichelle Nichols. So any experiences you have from the convention that you think people need to know about aside from what you've been seeing here in the Comics Alley?
Well, people need to understand and know that it is what Andrew called the essence of the beloved community. People, you see a large crowd and people in colorful dress, and acting out or playing the role of certain individuals or certain character, but it's so orderly, and it's a happening. It's the essence of the beloved community.
Right.
People coming together, the sense of hope and optimism, and people are happy.
Yes.
People are not sad. I tell people all the time, be happy. You know, look to the future, be hopeful. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that I got to share this experience with you. And Congressman Lewis, welcome to our community of artists and makers and the world of DragonCon. It's good to see you.
Well,
Pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Andrew, I hope to see you back at DragonCon again. I know you've got a third edition of third installment of the book coming out, and I hope you come back when that's been published. Thanks a lot, and thanks for watching DragonCon. We'll get you back to the show.
guest or attendee that I'm talking to has that kind of positive experience. I mean, we all have a few negative ones floating around, and it's hard not to do that when you cram so many people into so little hotel. But the overall experience that everybody sleepily remembers when they wake up and roll out of bed in the morning is that it's been fun and it's been the thing that we've all built together. So you all need to give yourselves a hand for making that happen over the past 4 days.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
The fact that the fact that Congressman Lewis could say that he saw this as part of the beautiful community, that's really touching.
So now I guess we have representation in Congress. I don't think we're necessarily a super PAC or anything, but try not to do anything bad with that power. Let's just, keep that all on the up and up.
Yes, with great power comes the ability to do terrible things. Don't do the terrible things.
That's how it goes, right?
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's what Uncle Ben said.
With great power comes a blown circuit breaker.
Yes.
Okay, whatever. Don't plug in the hairdryer.
Too early, Brian, too early.
All right, so let's go over some tips for the last day. How do we survive the exit from DragonCon?
Okay, to quote you, quoting some philosophers of our time, please be excellent to each other. There are a lot of people trying to get out of these hotels as if they were full of plague. Everybody is trying to get their luggage down. They're pulling the remnants of their food that they had. They have coolers. Everybody is trying to do this, and it's very easy to sort of be caught up in that and be caught up in the frustration and the feeling of, all right, this has been fun. I've got to get out of here. Please do not turn to the dark side. Do not let that hate just fill you. Instead, recognize that everybody else is in the same situation. Enough with your breathing. So, just stop breathing. Stop breathing. We'll see how long this lasts. Be patient. Recognize that everyone is trying to do the same thing. Elevators are in short supply. Know that that is a thing that you are going to have to deal with. Breathe through it. Make fists with your toes into the carpet. Not into the glass like John McCain did, into the carpet. And just be cool about it, because there are going to be a lot of folks trying to get out. Recognize that.
Trying to escape.
Escape from DragonCon York.
Oh no.
John Carpenter's Escape from the Parking Lot.
Escape from Marta.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me about that.
Yeah. So aside from using your cool new, slightly gravelly voices to do wonderful voiceover work for the next Batman video game.
And I am reaching low octaves that I did not know existed.
Yeah, when we get back to the house tonight, I think with the three of us, we should work on our Tom Waits cover album.
Yes.
That would be kind of awesome.
That would be the Tom Waits cover album.
So mine is, and I know DragonCon's sometimes a little bit of an expensive proposition to make. Mine is going to be tip. You have spent 4 to 6 days, depending on how you interpreted Wednesday or Thursday as being part of the convention, in the hotel, generating a lot of laundry and room service and Starbucks cups. And not that I'm endorsing a particular brand of coffee, that's just the one that happened to be in front of me.
Starbucks is like Kleenex or Band-Aid at this point,
Yeah, exactly.
right? It's just
The
a catch-all
pumpkin
term for
spice must
coffee.
flow. So a lot of the hotel staff here actually, some of them really want to work DragonCon. They actually put in for it and sort of rock, paper, scissors out of the crew to make sure they make it to that weekend. They really like being here. But we do put a little bit of strain on the hotel. Yeah. And if you have the spare money to tip well, please do. I'm not telling you that you have to, tips are kind of, supposed to be optional in a lot of ways, but it does actually make the hotel kind of like us a little bit better and makes up for some of the extra things that we do to hotel rooms that normally don't happen when you go to say an Apple event in San Francisco.
Well, and I've heard a number of hotel employees say that overall over the past however many years that DragonCon attendees have been very good and generous about tipping. I would like to continue that impression and think about that room of shame you are leaving behind.
Ooh. So many washcloths, so many towels.
And sometimes none of that, which is even worse. So please tip. And speaking of tips, Ellie.
Oh God, you're making me talk again. I don't know. Don't like stay up till 3 when you have the con crud.
Too late.
Done. I didn't stay up until 3.
This is my lovely con crud voice. Sorry. No, I'm dying over here.
All right.
Dying.
Okay.
Maybe be safe going home. I mean, at this point, we're all at that sort of vibrating at a different level point. Also recognize that. Please drive safely. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that Atlanta traffic is really easy to deal with.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
For those of you who are driving, it'll be a breeze on Monday of a holiday. No problem.
Remember, the outside world thinks they're coming back from like the last hurrah of the summer, and you're sort of like, well, I can point my car in the general direction of my house, and let's see
Kind
what
of get
happens.
there. So I want a self-driving car.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Marta
is free today.
Marta is
But
free.
I live nowhere near Marta.
Marta is free today, but on a holiday schedule. So the confluence of those two things should be entertaining. Holiday schedule is a polite way of saying when the trains normally show up, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
They may run like once every, hour.
And you have to wear a Santa hat. That's part of the holiday thing. Sorry.
No.
Go get one at
That's-
CVS.
No, that's not actually a thing. You
That is
probably
totally
could.
a thing. You heard it here. It's on TV. It is a real thing.
TV's never lied to us before. Also, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Still really excited that we had aliens as a cosplayer.
Yeah. One of our crew actually did, Dylan cosplayed the aliens guy a couple of years ago, but I thought he was cosplaying Vir Kodo from Babylon 5, so I totally didn't get the joke.
He did kind of have the
And
hair.
what he did to fix that is he added a pyramid to his cosplay. So he just constantly walked around just as that guy carrying a pyramid.
The guy I saw this year had like aliens printed out in the Impact font, sitting there, and a little bitty logo from the History Channel.
When
sitting on
he
the design.
memed a lower third
That
quarter
is
bug
correct.
himself.
He had his own lower third moving around with him at all times. So he could be like,
One of my favorite things about this convention is that you can cosplay anything. And people do. I mean, just anything. I saw some people cosplaying a towel from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They rigged up some PVC pipe frame and had hung terry cloth on it, and then had I guess printed or painted on it, mostly harmless.
Nice.
I also like that whatever you're going to cosplay, people will be like, oh yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we showed some footage yesterday and everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's Left Shark. Of course we know that's Left Shark.
Left shark in the aquarium, best shark ever. All
Left
right.
Shark is best shark.
I think we're out of tips. I'm out of coffee, and Allie probably now sounds like a frog every time she talks. Yeah, so it's time to
Utah
wrap this
raptor
thing up. Guys, gals, and whatever that thing is in the back corner.
Everybody
look.
That was amazing.
We're going to close on that note. For Stephen and Allie, my name is Brian Richardson. It has been a fantastic 4 days here at DragonCon. We hope to do it again next year, and we hope you come back for it. Thanks, and we will see you in another year.
But not earlier. It's got to be a year.
Yeah,
There's some
wait a
rest
year.
that has to
Seriously.
happen.
Yes, that's how long we have to sleep.